The economy in Valorant can feel overwhelming and complex, but no need to fear because in this video, I'm going to break down the important things you need to know. We're going to be covering the more advanced side to economy in this video, but if you want a more beginner look at the economy, check out this video on screen or in the description. Anyways, my name is Valued, and without further ado, let's get right into it. To start off this video, I want to establish the main types of buys in Valorant. Those are full buy, light buy, and full save. A full buy is when you buy a rifle, full utility in either light armor or heavy armor. A light buy is where you're buying light weapons and light utility to make sure you have credits to full buy in the next round. Light buys are especially common if you're on a losing streak and you're gaining more economy because of your loss bonus. And finally, a full save is just how it sounds. You buy next to nothing and play for the next round. Any damage done on full save rounds is considered a W. Your goal in each half is to have as many full buy rounds as possible. And things like winning more rounds, saving effectively, and focusing on your economy with the tips I'll discuss throughout the video will set you up to do just that. Each of the buys I discussed above have their place and purpose based on a certain amount of credits that each member of your team has. So now that you have a little bit of context, the best way to teach you how buying works more effectively is to run through some example rounds from how it should be done in optimal game scenarios. Let's start with the pistol round. Every player has 800 credits. Pretty simple. The three most common buys here are Ghost with one piece of utility, classic light armor with more utility focused agents like Cypher, Killjoy, Astra, etc. And finally, the least optimal in my opinion, but very common, the Sheriff no utility buy. Now, these buys are really up to you. Some players are more comfortable with the Ghost, some players make their classic work like mine never does, and some Reynas like the wide swing mid with a Sheriff. In my opinion, the dictating factor for what you buy on pistol round is what kind of agent you're playing and whether your utility plays a vital role in winning the round. The more important your utility is, the more you should lean into the classic light armor route, but for pistols, that's about it. And after you win or lose the pistol round, you're going to have a set amount of money based on one of the following outcomes. The possible outcomes that will impact your buying situation are as follows: winning pistol round, losing pistol round without a bomb plant, and losing pistol round with a bomb plant. I'll explain the difference about the bomb plant shortly. So if you win pistol round, generally you want to buy up to ensure that you'll easily secure the second round. Now, there are some exceptions to this, especially if you're an opper. Operator players will commonly stick with their upgraded pistol on this round or buy something super light so they can buy an op on their first full buy round. Other than that exception, my general go-to after my team wins pistols is to buy a Bulldog with light armor and full utility, or Bulldog with full armor and no utility if I'm playing an agent like Jett who doesn't have round-changing utility and can get away without having full utility on this round. Losing this round if you won the pistol round is going to set you up to lose the following round and will really tilt your teammates. So unless you must have an operator to perform well, invest almost all your credits into this round because after this round, you should do a bonus, and I'll explain that in the next section. But let's go to the flip side and say you lost pistol round. If the round wasn't close, as in they literally flawless you and you didn't get bombed down, you're kind of out of luck for the second round. Here, I would always advise that you not force on the second round. Since your team is going to have low credits here, just full save and play for round 3. And when I say save, don't buy that Sheriff that we all know you want to buy because it's much better to have full armor and nearly full utility on round 3. So buying even a pistol on round 2 is ill-advised in this situation in my opinion. The problem with forcing here, especially if your team doesn't do it together, is that players on your team are going to come into round 3 with light armor or missing utility, and that could literally be the cause of your loss on round 3, which is going to set the game in a negative spiral. The only situation where you want to force on this round, in my opinion, is if you got the bomb planted in pistol round on attack. See, on attack, your team has the potential to find success on round 2 because you can simply flood into a site, overwhelm the defenders, and take their higher cost guns. Plus, players on round 2 commonly will play a little bit less safe and give you opportunities to capitalize with a full stinger buy on your whole team. Now, me personally, I never want to force on this round because I feel like in ranked, it's hard to have enough coordination to pull it off consistently, but to each their own, and if you have a really cohesive team that's communicating well, feel free to try a force. But remember what I said before, forcing on round 2 should only be an option if your whole team is on board. Moving on to round 3, generally, this round will play out in the way I'm about to describe. I'm going to cover 2 perspectives in this section. Perspective 1 is the team that won pistol round, bought for their anti-eco on round 2, and now has a decent light buy with bulldogs, specters, and etc. Many players, especially in lower elos, make the mistake of upgrading their weapons on round 3. Round 3 is generally referred to as a bonus round for the winner of the pistols. And what a bonus means is that you aren't upgrading your rifles, but rather stacking your economy and trying to face your opponents with a bit of worse weaponry. The idea with this strategy is that you will still have a shot at winning this round with bulldogs, specters, and light armor, and any kills you get is going to cripple your opponent's economy for round 4. And remember, this should be their buy round. So the round after, unless it's completely clean, they're only going to have 2,800 to 3,200 credits, which doesn't warrant a buy. Also, as a quick reminder, for any of your teammates that died on round 2, make sure to see if your teammates or yourself have upgraded pistols that can be dropped to save credits. On the flip side for round 3, if you're on the side that lost pistols and you full saved on round 2, round 3 would be your first full buy round. The general idea on this round is that you want to keep your distance from enemies and play to the strengths of your Vandal and Phantom over their Bulldogs, Spectres, Sheriffs, and whatever else they're using. After round 3, the rest is dictated by how each round goes. And as you all hopefully know, each round you lose, you get less credits and lose most, if not all, your weapons. And winning, especially with very few casualties, starts to stack up your economy very quickly. After round 3, it's important to understand a concept called reading your opponent's economy. This is where I want to discuss some implications of how your opponents will buy based on certain amounts of credits. For example, 3,900 is generally the bare minimum credits that warrant a full buy. It's enough for a Vandal and heavy armor, or a Vandal, light armor, and some utility. And then 4,700 credits is the value that provides you with comfort and space to buy utility, full armor, and a Vandal or Phantom of your choice. Anything under those 2 credit values is now a save or a light buy situation. So when it comes to reading your opponent's economy and using it to inform your eco decisions, you can get all this information from the tab screen and looking at the credits each agent has. To demonstrate how you can read your opponents, here's 2 examples from games I've played recently. For example 1, in this situation, the enemy team had 2 players live in the last round, which we lost. For their economy, it should be obvious here that they're going to have a full buy because 2 of them lived, and those players that lived can afford to buy the Reyna and the Astra to ensure all of them will have full armor and full utility. My team can also full buy, except for me, but since I'm playing Jet, I can pop my ultimate, which is knives, and earn myself a gun. This example was pretty simple, but I wanted to show you the idea of remembering who lived and who died in previous rounds and remembering the fact that they can buy weapons for their teammates. It's also important to remember that Jet doesn't need a buy if she has ultimate, similar to Neon. Moving on to example 2, I just clutched a round leading up to this, so I lived with a Vandal and no one from my team or the enemy team survived. So this is a fresh buy for them, and looking at their economy, everyone except for Astra and Sage are completely broke. So in this round, 9 times out of 10, the enemies are going to do a light buy save, where maybe Astra and Sage will buy their teammates Sheriffs, or they'll do a Bulldog light armor and their teammates will have upgraded pistols. In this round, we know the enemies are going to be on a light buy, unless they're completely out of control. So for my team, the buys are a bit tight on our bottom 3, but we can make it work and scrape together enough creds to buy, and we should buy because the enemies are going to be on a broken economy. And if we're not full buying here, we're giving the enemies a way back into the round, which should be free for us. The process of thought that I just showed you should be happening every round. Remember who lived in the round before, see if they have enough credits to buy teammates, and use this information to make a call about your own purchases. I've had a lot of situations where my team will call a force that works because we observed the enemy economy, knew a few players wouldn't have weapons, and used this information to form a strat. So, since we've talked about reading your opponent's economy, now it's time to talk about your own economy. The reason many players in teams experience snowball games and inconsistent performance between rounds is because they're bad at credit management. When it comes to forcing a weapon, when it means you'll be sacrificing your ability to buy in the next round, it's only worth it, in my opinion, if your entire team is doing it, or you have a very specific plan of what you're going to do with the forced weapon. Most of the time, the player that forces a Vandal on a save round or an upgraded pistol only gets 1 or 2 kills, dies, and then in the next round when their whole team is buying, they can't afford to do so. This is a real problem because you want to make sure that you're able to trade out your teammates and that your unupgraded weapon isn't going to cost a teammate their life. And if you've watched the video up until this point, you should try to be the person on your team who's coordinating your team's economy. On round 2, after you lose pistol, if you see a teammate forcing a stinger and light armor, but the rest of your team is saving, say something. Most of the time, people just don't really think of the implications of the economy as I've explained it in this video. And as a result, they end up being a liability and a weakness for your team without even knowing so. By simply saying something about their buy and trying to be the glue between your teammates' buying habits, you'll see a lot of improvement in team cohesion and performance as a result. Hopefully, after hearing all the things I've broken down for you in this video, you now understand some of the most common buying strategies that higher level players use. On top of that, I hope you take some of the warnings I mentioned throughout this video seriously. Economy is a bigger deal than most players give it any credit for. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video and want to keep getting better and better at Valorant, hit the sub button. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching. My name is Valued, and I'll see you in the next one.